Welcome back to the Spank Me If I'm Wrong podcast. My name is Charles Spank, the lowlife at rock bottom, and today I will be arguing with, per usual,
the modest gentleman known as Judah.
Okay, today we will be talking about your other podcast.
Okay.
So basically, if we were going to talk about my other podcast, it is a Dungeons and Dragons actual play podcast.
No. Tell them the real topic.
Okay, well, before we get to the real topic, I want to address the elephant in the room. I want to talk about how you've been sending hate to our fans on Spotify.
I have not been sending hate. You have.
No, I have not.
Yes, you have.
No, that's all you. Okay. Wait,
once we go to like a video podcast, I'm going to start screenshotting and putting it in the edit.
All right, so they're gonna see your little head popping up, spreading hate.
My little head, my little username.
Anyways.
Guys, do not listen to Spank Me If I'm Wrong.
Yes, listen. Anyways, today the topic is gambling. We're gonna debate our opinions on gambling. Winner. All right. So we kind of teed it up on the last episode. The first question we'll be debating is: should children be able to gamble? What do you think?
No.
Why not?
A gentleman never squallows his money.
Okay, what if it's a lady?
Squanders my money.
What if it's a lady?
A gentle lady and a gentleman never squanders their investments.
They're babies.
They're babies.
No, not babies. They're like kids. I'm saying like middle school, high school.
I thought you said ladies.
I did say ladies, but
Okay.
Like you said, a gentleman and a gentle lady. They're little kids.
Okay, now little kids. I don't think children should be able to gamble
And
because we're creating an addiction early on. I mean, we're actually seeing this in real time. Like I think like we were joking about it last time. Like, oh my gosh, but between our last recording and this recording, I actually thought about it a little bit, and
You think they should gamble?
We actually no. I'm still anti-child gambling, but in a sense, we actually already have child gambling. I mean, we've got these loot crates and these mystery boxes and these like video game, like on Roblox. They've actually just recently busted a Roblox server / game because it was enabling child gambling. So like these children were pouring in thousands of Robux, just like depleting their parents' credit cards, basically on this mini game in Roblox. And like it just got busted because supposedly I think you can there's like a way to I think get some sort of monetary transaction out of it. Like I think you could like sell the skins that you won or something like that. I don't know how exactly it got busted, but anyway, it got busted because of the child gambling. And I think it's setting up a really bad example, and it's setting up a really bad culture for our kids because they're going to get addicted to gambling. And then what are they going to do with their money when they actually grow up and make money? They're going to spend it on gambling because of that addiction that they built on in the beginning of their life.
Okay, here's my question: have you ever had an original thought?
Have I ever had an original thought?
Because every single time we argue, it's all the same. It's, well, I think you should wash your hands. Well, I think that you should save your money. I think gambling's bad. You're saying what everyone's thinking. I'm saying what everyone's afraid to say. All right? So, do I think children should gamble? Yes, they should gamble at the age of 13 and up. Because, dude, are you messing with your mind?
Yeah, sorry.
Stop messing with your mind.
My hand itches so bad.
Just scratch it away from the mic.
I'm holding my mic with two hands.
Bruh, just sit on the table.
Like Joe Biden drinking water.
Anyways, do I think children should gamble? Yes, I think children should gamble. I think that you come from a very...
Okay, hold on, pause. Like, why 13, though? Why specifically 13?
Because I think when they're, like, obviously, like, whenever they're, like, 10 years old, you know, they're not going to be able to think better. I mean, I think that they should, like... I mean, if I just said all children should gamble, you know, like, where's the cutoff? Like, should babies gamble when they come out of the womb? Probably not, because they can't think. I think when you're 13, you kind of have, like, an understanding of, like you're conscious, you know? Like, So
if you can make conscious, not rational, but conscious decisions, you should be able to gamble.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
How's that terrible? You're not even letting me explain. I think you come from a privileged standpoint because when you were in school, you did sports, you did extracurricular activities. But think about the people who didn't, the people who were socially outcasted, who were losers. That gambling is kind of like you don't really, you can come from any walk of life and you can go in there, lose all your money. It's a social activity. You can bond over, I lost so much money or I made $1 million. And think about this, like I said in the last episode, when you're a little kid, or not little kid, but whenever you're, like, how much money did you have in your bank account when you were, 15, 16 years old?
When I was 15 or 16,
Was it a lot?
No, I probably consistently had between $50 to $100, but most of the time it was around 50.
See how that's not like that big of a deal, and also, like, the money doesn't really go into anything besides, like, stuff you like. So if you enjoy gambling, then why is that a big deal? It's no different than if you want to go out and buy a video game. And if you're short on the money on a video game, it teaches you responsibility with your money, because if you're like, okay, I could get this video game for basically free because I'm going to gamble the $50 and then I'm going to double the money. You lose all the money. Now you don't have a video game. Now you understand. I probably should have saved the money.
But you're putting you're putting the thought process of an adult into a kid. And I don't know very many adults who actually rationalize that well. I don't know really any gamblers that have that rationale and actually go through with it. In fact,
what rationale? Like, oh, I should have stopped.
Yeah, like I should have stopped. Like, there's very, very, very few.
Because they got the money mentality.
No.
Yes.
It's the poor mentality.
That is not the poor. The poor mentality is, oh, I better stop. I better save my money before I lose it all. No, you could win it all. I could say the opposite effect.
So, like, I don't mind gambling. I think if you have a strong will that you can spend money that you were going to spend anyway, like if you've dedicated an allotted amount of money to gamble and you spend it and you don't go over, then I think it's fine. I'm not going to promote it because there are some people who struggle with addictions and there's people who struggle with handling money.
I'm promoting gambling.
Okay. But there are people who struggle with addiction and people who struggle with handling money. And I don't want to promote it because I don't want people to fall into sin if they don't have the mindset or physical ability to restrain themselves. However, personally, my form of gambling, I like investing. I like
gambling on the weather.
Like gambling on the weather. Okay, I did use Kanashi for a little bit. And I was actually, but it was like zero risk though. I just had to wake up at 8 a.m.
Did you win any money?
I did. I won like $200 to $300 just betting on the weather. But that was intelligent gambling though. Like that's not going to a slot machine that has less than a 1% success rate. You know?
Yeah, but I think there's different forms. So I think
let's say okay, we might find an agreement here. But let's say we have like a 13-year-old and we created a gambling class and we showed them the right ways to gamble and the wrong ways to gamble. And or like if it was like maybe it was an investment class and we had a an investment simulation, then I would be okay with that because that we're teaching kids about life. However, should I just let a kid walk into a casino and just kind of do whatever he wants with his money? No, I don't. I think if like we had a gambling class and you could get like a license to gamble underage, because like it's already illegal. Like,
in certain states.
Yeah, an 18-year-old or younger can't just like in certain states can't just walk into a casino and start spending their money. So in those states that require those laws, then we could create a class, the right way to gamble, and we could teach people about smart finances, we could teach them about investments, and then we could teach them about gambling.
If we do that, if we went down that road, I would pray that you didn't teach that class.
Why? Because I'd be like, all right, chapter 1, why gambling is evil.
Yeah, you'd say like, okay, if you're gonna gamble, make sure you can, make sure that you only use the amount of money that you're okay to spend. I tell them, put your whole bank account in there. Put your whole bank account in the stock market. Put your whole bank account into the slot machine.
See, that's why I don't want children going to the casino, because they're going to have, if you're teaching them or if you're spreading that word, then they're going to come out terrible.
No, I'm not even saying like the amount of money. Like, let's forget the amount of money. Let's say that I did teach only spend the amount that you're willing to lose. Okay, let's say I did go about it that way. They would go in there and they don't know how to play a game of blackjack. And if you don't know how to play a game of blackjack, the odds are like 80%. It's like 70 or 80% against you. Versus if you taught them how to play these games and they understood how to play, they would be in better odds of beating, especially like casino games, not like slot machines. I'm not like chance-based games, like skill-based. I guess not like the most skill you can have in a gambling sense, but the skill-based games like blackjack or poker, like they're going to know how to play these games and the odds aren't going to be against them. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So I don't think I'm going to change my stance. I still feel like the morality of the situation is...
Who teaches, like, listen, whenever you say the morality, that's because if society said children can gamble, then we're good arguments for children gambling. You'd say, I don't see anything wrong with it.
All right. How about in the next topic, we talk about something morally good that I don't agree with? Okay.
What is it?
Well, we got to finish these topics first.
Is there something morally good that you don't agree with?
Something that like society agrees on that's okay that I don't agree with? Yeah, there's many, many things. But I'd rather get into that in a later episode.
Okay. So I win this question. Okay, then what do you want to say? Because it sounds like I'm winning.
No, morally, I don't think children should gamble because it's setting a precedent for them.
But you don't know that.
We're setting themselves for a standard later in their life. Yeah, I know that.
How do you know
There's
that?
so many examples. If you walk through the Vegas Strip, you'll see how many homeless people are there, first of all.
Did they gamble as children? No, they gambled as adults.
Why would them gambling as children?
Because that's like the whole thing is like you don't know like what would happen if children started to gamble. You don't know the effects because it's not.
But
a
yes,
thing
we do. It is a thing with these loot crates and stuff.
Okay, children, are they adults yet?
Children are spending thousands and thousands of dollars.
That's the whole point.
On these loot crates.
They're learning young.
No, they're not learning young. They're
literally learning young. They're spending so much money, and when they're older, they're like, "Oh, you know what? That was probably bad."
No, that is.
Or some of them.
That is not how people think.
Some of them will think, "Holy cow, I made it big. I know how to win the game," and then they're gonna freaking be millionaires. So it's gonna be the same thing. You're gonna have people either making a lot of money or saying, "Oh, I probably shouldn't do that. That was a bad idea." And then there will be a small amount that's going to be addicted, but that's why.
No, it's not. It's not going to be a small amount.
You don't know that.
Yes,
I know that.
Yes, we have data.
Name one instance where a child gambled where they're not a kid anymore, or they're an adult now and they gambled as a kid.
We don't even have to go to the data of children. We just look at the data of the already existing adults.
No, because those ones didn't gamble as children. I'm saying if you gambled as a child, since you were a child,
who
it
are
would be
more
much different
intelligent, people who are more intelligent, more mature, more sound mind, making irrational, stupid decisions, throwing their bank account and their mortgages away for the thrill of gambling.
Do you think
we have that data?
Do you think that they should teach children stocks early?
Yeah. I think everybody should.
But there are adults who are losing their money because they're putting everything into a meme coin.
You just said two completely different things. Stocks and crypto.
Okay, do you think they should teach kids crypto early? Yes. I would say the same argument. Okay, but there are adults. I could say, well, I don't think that should be a thing because there are sound-minded adults who are throwing all their money into crypto. If they taught them early, there'd probably be less instances of that. So why would that not apply to gambling?
No, gambling. Here's the difference. Because with casino gambling, with gambling with games or created by a business, it is statistically proven that the odds are against you no matter what. The house always wins. Okay? And even if 1 out of every 100 kids won the jackpot, that's still 99 kids who are going into bankruptcy, losing this week's bills, losing their car, getting the shirt stripped off their back just so that they can gamble because they think that they can hit the mega win. So we have the statistics to prove why this idea would be terrible, because already as adults, the odds are not in their favor. I mean, the house always wins. The house is rigged. Literally, the slot machines, they are designed to...
Yeah, but you keep using the slot machine example, but that's like purely luck.
No, it's not luck. It's not luck because the camera room that they're in, they pick and choose who they want to win. It's not a luck.
But no, I'm saying technically, like there's like they're going to choose somebody. So it's not like you can't do anything about that, but you can win a game of blackjack. You can win a game of poker. I'm saying like the card table games, like those gambling ones, that's going to be a little different than the slot machines. The only example you're using is the slot machines because I would never advocate for the slot machines.
But in the card games and in the what's the ball game called where it's
Plinko?
No. That's the freaking virtual. Plinko's rigged too.
I don't like Plinko.
But that's online. That's a completely different story.
But,
I'm talking about in-person casinos, the one where the ball like goes around the table.
Frick, what is that? It's like when you bet on black or red.
Mm-hmm. I
forget what that's called. I know what you're talking about though.
But
roulette.
Roulette, yeah. In some casinos, they have been caught rigging the system using magnets, having the table kind of angled at a weird angle so it falls in a certain direction. They have been caught cheating. Now, I'm not saying that every casino has done that, and I'm not saying that, and I'm not calling out any specific casino, but there have been reports and there have been stories and even movies made about these things. So, like, if at an early age we're just like letting kids walk into a casino and just spend whatever money that they have, like, there's no way that
what are they going to spend their money on if they didn't spend it on that?
So if I'm a parent. And
I'm saying, if you were a kid, what would you spend your money on? Besides, if it wasn't gambling, what would you spend your money on? Like a video game?
Candy, food, or a video game, which would probably give me more enjoyment than a casino anyway.
I could argue, well, if you spend it on a video game, that's creating a video game addiction. If you spend it on junk food, it's creating unhealthy habits. If you spend it on food, you're becoming a glutton. Like, I could say that I could argue a negative for everything.
Okay. We should look at the statistics for this, but how many
people lose are 13%.
That's
who win are 13%.
Across the world, across the United States.
So I looked up is the phrase, like a while ago, I looked up the phrase, is it true that 99% of gamblers stop when they get it big? Like, is that like an actually true thing? And it said no, it's actually only 13% win.
So 13% across the entire world of casinos win.
Like, make it not win, but like make it like big, I guess.
Right.
Like, there's probably some that made like a freaking couple bucks, you know.
So
that's included.
So out of 8 billion people, let's say, of 8 billion people out of however many people who go to casinos, out of every single casino in the world, only 13% of people hit the jackpot.
I guess that's what that means.
So why in the world would I let a kid who has no morality, no sense of the world, no idea of anything that's going on, go into a casino and learn about gambling?
Okay, so first of all, that's exactly why you would, so they can learn.
But they're not going to learn because casinos are made, they're designed, their architecture, the lighting that they use, the artwork, just everything about casinos are made to be addicting.
Okay,
it's scientifically proven.
About this.
That the architecture in casinos are made so that you don't have to make decisions to keep you inside the building. They have rounded edges instead of 90-degree instead of 90-degree turns, because as soon as you make a 90-degree turn, you have to make a conscious decision, and when you make that conscious decision, it may wake you up and be like, oh frick, I got to get out of here, you know? So they literally make casinos to be addicting and to keep you inside of it. So if I put a kid who's very impressionable to go and I
But
put
they're
him,
not going to have a lot of money anyways. Like, it's not like they have $10,000. They have $50.
so okay, so they go spend the $50 and they go back to mom and dad and like, Mom, Dad, I need another $50. And let's say that that mom and dad are basically a dispenser for money. Like they're like, oh, I want my kid to be happy, so I'm just going to give him money. So so he's going to get the money and then go back into the casino, spend it, come back to his parents, get the money, and go back and spend it, and he's going to create a cycle because he's not learning. He's just creating an addiction.
Okay, so you're going to blame the kid for having an addiction, and you say because they're not capable of making good decisions, rational decisions, but then you're not going to blame the parents for giving the child money. You're going to put all the blame on the kid, but not the parents.
No, I'm not putting the blame on the kid.
You're putting the blame. Then why is it the kid's fault? You're saying like he's
okay. So what are you arguing? Are you arguing we should legalize child gambling, or are you arguing we should allow kids? Because now we're changing the argument. Because let's say that child
I
gambling
think we should
was
legalize it.
If child gambling was legalized,
Yeah.
then I would say. Then my argument would be no parents should ever let their kid go to a casino.
What would your argument be for the other one? Because I think that your argument could stand both ways, regardless of what I said.
Exactly. But you just asked me. But you just said, is it the child's fault or the parents' fault? It's both. It's both.
It's the kid's fault. Who you say that the kid who apparently can't make a rational decision. It's his fault.
No, it's it would be the parents' fault.
Okay,
but
so
if child
then
gambling
why
was
does it
legal,
matter?
if child gambling was legal, it would be. I'll just take back what I said. It would be the parents' fault.
Okay, so then why does it matter if it's kind of like tattoos? Like not every kid is going to get a tattoo. If the parents okay with it, the kid's going to get a tattoo. Is it the kid's fault that they got a tattoo? No, the parents let them. So why does it matter if we legalize children gambling? If ultimately it's going to be the parent that says, I'm not going to give you money, or I am going to give you money.
Because tattoos really aren't that big of a deal.
Right, but if it's the parent's choice.
Wasting your money, just throwing it into the garbage and lighting it on fire, that's bad. Okay, so this is why. Because during your teenage and your adolescent years, that is your most impressionable years. Those are the years that you retain the most information. You are growing and becoming the person that you are. If I'm a parent and I'm bringing a kid to a casino, I am not only giving them the impression that it's okay to go into a casino, but I'm giving them that kid the impression that it's okay to just waste my money.
Or you're giving them the impression that your actions are your own. You know, if they come home complaining, I lost all my money. Oh, that's you got to learn. But also, like I said before,
where is the learning part of it, though? Is the learning part of it when they come home crying because they lost all their money, and then you say, okay, little Johnny, this is what happened. This is why we don't go to casinos.
It's kind of like,
where is the learning part? Are you expecting the child to learn for himself by his experiences at the casino? Are you expecting the parents to then come in as like the good guy, like the savior, and say, hey, this is why we don't do that?
No, the child should learn with their experiences to the casino.
See, because
it's kind of
there
like
is no reality where that's going to happen.
You don't know that because it hasn't happened before. You're arguing for things that haven't happened.
It is happening, though. There are kids. It is not
happening. There are kids who are gambling who are now adults, and you now know the effects of the kids who gamble as adults.
No, but these kids who are gambling right now.
Yeah,
they are still gambling. They have not gotten rid of the addiction.
How long has that been? And how old are these kids?
I don't know how long loot crates have been a thing.
Let's say a 10-year-old gambles. They're 11 now. They're still gambling. Okay.
So you're telling me that a kid by himself is going to learn to stop gambling or stop wasting his money?
They're not necessarily going to learn how. I'm not saying you need to learn how to stop. I'm saying he's learning. He's getting smarter in the ways that he gambles. He thinks, okay, well that didn't work, so I got to try this out. And then eventually,
that's terrible. You said it yourself that only 13% of all people.
Because they weren't taught as kids.
No, because it's rigged. It's rigged against you. Casinos are rigged against you. They are literally made to make the casinos richer.
Okay, let's
even if there was like a 50%, if we bumped the percent to 50%, casinos would go bankrupt across the world.
Okay, listen. Let's, regardless of the percentages are rigged against you, whatever. Regardless of that.
No, but the percentages matter though, because
no, I'm not going to talk about the percent. I'm talking about something else.
But no, if we teach kids that it's okay to get,
my point is not about the percentages.
No, but 13% is terrible.
Bruh.
That's a terrible margin.
But listen, regardless of the percent, I had said earlier that what do you think about the kids who have no life, have nothing going on? You were able to play sports and make friends as a kid. What about the kids who have nothing, and gambling would have been the social activity that they have and that they can bond over? You don't think it's a little fun to hang out with people and you're like, holy cow,
in my few times that I've been in a casino or heard stories about a casino, there's like very little social life that goes on. There's prostitution.
Do they go by themselves? If they go by themselves, but I'm saying like with friends.
Charles, you just told me, what about the people with no friends?
No, yeah, the ones with no friends.
Okay.
And that's the way that they make friends. That's the way they go out and or there's like a group of people, and they do like the online gambling.
But every story that I've heard about a casino, people do not make friends. They just go there and waste their money.
I'm saying if there was a group, like a school group, like let's go gambling, they take a field trip to the
you keep on going left and right. You have to change your
going left and right.
Yeah, you change your story so that you can win. Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm saying if there was a group of kids. Okay.
One guy who's got one child who has no social life. No.
Now you're changing my point.
You said, what about the little man with no social life? Because you, Judah, had a high school. And by the way, I didn't have a lot of friends. But anyway,
yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. Especially not my senior and junior year. I was like hardcore wrestling those years.
Okay, regardless. Okay.
But you were saying, since you, Judah, had a social life in high school, what about the people who would not have a social life? How this could potentially benefit them? No, it will not. It will make them less social. Because casinos are not made to be social. Although that's what they advertise, that's not what they're made to be. They're made to be...
You're telling me, okay, if I was with a group of my friends and I said, let's go gambling, there was like kind of a thrill in watching all your money go down the drain. You could possibly lose it, you could possibly win it. And I think that you could take two strangers, I would give them $500 and I'd say, okay, you can either keep the $500 or you could gamble it all. And if they chose to gamble it, they're going to bond over that because they're going to be like, holy cow, we're about to make it big. And then they lose all their money. And then they would think, oh, well, it would suck. But they enjoyed the journey of possibly winning or losing all their money.
No.
Yes. What do you mean? No? I'm going to answer your arguments like that.
I mean, yeah, they might bond over it, but I don't think that's a healthy social environment.
What is?
Oh my gosh, there's so many ways that you could find a healthy social environment. I mean, obviously, I'm just going to go ahead and throw the obvious answer, but churches. All right, so I'm just going to get that out the way. All right, and then there's theme parks, there's D&D groups, there's sports, there's clubs. I mean, why
theme parks that also promote gambling?
Where? I'm not talking about fairs. I'm talking about like Whitewater.
They have. Not at Whitewater, but like Silver Dollar City.
Yeah, I'm talking about Silver Dollar City and like Whitewater.
Silver Dollar City has the games where you like pay like a freaking $10 to win an animal or something. They have those.
Okay.
Or like the water gun thing, like that, and then like, oh, if I give them $10, I could possibly win a toy. And when you lose that one, they're like, oh, I really want to win the toy. Like that is a form of gambling. Would you not think?
Okay, but there's also not like an ATM right there staring at you, and it's like, oh,
I think
you get the.
I'm pretty sure there are ATMs in Silver Dollar City.
Well, all right.
So that's
I'll give you. Okay, I'll let you have that one.
There's gambling everywhere you go,
but
it's just disguised.
But how? Okay, the large rides at Silver Dollar City,
mm-hmm.
They are more enticing than those games anyway. The main the main attraction of casinos is spend your money and try to win.
You're saying
the main attraction to these theme parks are the rides.
So
like I don't feel like that's applicable because like that's not like the main attraction of the social gathering.
Okay, so you're telling me like whenever a school takes a trip to Silver Dollar City, the kids who go there do not want a souvenir. Because they don't know to
No,
spend their money on.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't think this is applicable because the main attraction is the rides. Yes, they want a souvenir, but they're not. But you can buy souvenirs without freaking going to the freaking games. They have shops there, but so like the main attraction to casinos is you spend your money to try and reap rewards. The main attraction to
A theme park.
are their rides. So like I don't think that's like a fair example because like yeah, it's there because like we could say that about freaking gas stations. Should kids not be allowed to go to gas stations in Oklahoma because they've got casinos in them?
That's a question to ask you.
No, of course I'm not going to freaking stop a kid from going into a gas station. That's so stupid.
Why?
Because there's food, drinks, even safety if they're being chased down.
But the thing is, okay, here's my thing. I think that you kind of you kind of glazed over like one of my points is like I could find a negative for everything. I could find a negative for the things you like. So like, why does
casino is just an overall negative? 13% make it big, and we don't even know the numbers who like make. We don't even know the percentage of the numbers for people who make small wins. So like,
so the percentage is higher.
If you go in there, you are almost guaranteed to lose. However, if you go into a theme park, or if you go to a wrestling tournament, or if you go to a chess club, or something like that, the idea is not only different. Not only are you getting a different social benefit from it, but like, what was I gonna say?
You're gonna say that I win?
No. I was not gonna say that. I was gonna say not only do you get a different social benefit, but you also get a recreational benefit as well. If I go to a theme park, I want to get thrill, excitement, and joy out of that. If I go to a wrestling tournament, I want to get thrill, excitement, a workout out of that. If I go to a chess club, I want to make friends and I want to enjoy the culture of chess. Those are healthy pleasures out of those areas. However, the only like pleasures that you can get out of a casino are like the social life of the drinking there, the thrill of gaining money.
No, there's a thrill in losing money too.
Okay, the thrill of losing money, and the thrill of gaining money, and at some casinos that have prostitutes.
I'm not saying go all the time, but you don't see like the enjoyability of like coming home like, oh my gosh, at the gambling club I lost all my money. Like, you know, like kids would eat that up. Adults eat that up.
Yeah, exactly. They would eat that up. That's why I don't think it's a good idea.
So you advocate for adult gambling?
I don't advocate for it, but I'm not gonna say that it's like a sin. Or
okay, what age do you think people should gamble?
Do you
think 18's okay?
I mean, I think if you could fight for your country, then you can gamble. So sure, 18 would be fine. Even 17, I think, would be fine.
Okay, what about 13?
No.
Okay, thought I could trick you. Anyways, let's get into today's sponsor. We are sponsored by Kenshi, a legal gambling app.
No, Kenshi's the video game.
Wait, what's the app that you used?
Kanashi, and we're not freaking sponsored.
We are sponsored by Kanashi.
We are not.
If we are not
sponsored.
Kanashi, please sue us. Please get us taken down. Listen, this is gambling. This is how you make it big. Is, you know, they might think this guy's funny. They mentioned us. I ain't even gonna sue.
I think if you're an adult and you see a flaw in a system, yeah, you could take advantage of it, like Kanashi, or you could bet on the freaking weather. Literally, it was like.
So we're sponsored now. So yeah, tell them why we should download Kanashi.
It was like, is it going to be 81 degrees in Dallas, Texas today? And if you woke up at 8 a.m. You got on the weather app.
Bro, why didn't you put like your whole bank account into that then?
Well, maybe it was my bloody bank account because I'm broke as heck. No, I was just doing safe betting. So
bro, that's why you didn't make it big. That's why people don't make it big, because they don't put their whole bank account in.
So I would wake up before the I guess the like what do you call it?
Dawn.
No, I would wake up before like the bettings opened, I guess, and. You just check out the weather, what it's going to be in Dallas today, and it says like, is it going to be 81 degrees or higher, or 82 degrees or higher? And what I would do is I would wake up right when the gates opened, and I would bet what I wanted. And in Kanashi, you can actually like ride the wave. So if everybody bets on that time, you can actually ride it up like an investment and then sell at its peak, and you can get money that way. Or you can bet, or obviously you can play it as like a normal bet, and you could bet against the odds, and then you would make a certain percentage based on the odds. For instance, if I would have left my money in, I would have only made like $101 probably, because like 99 to 97% of people were like betting on the right answer. But if you ride the wave, you can actually sell it at its peak and then get money out that way too. Every once in a while though, I'd take a little risk, and I'm like, well, there's a chance that it might not like get up to 81 degrees, so I'm going to bet 80 degrees, and then I would get money that way too. However, it was hard because like people started figuring out, and they're like, oh, if I just wake up, ride the wave, and then sell all my stuff at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then I'll make money that way. So people started doing that, and then the amount of money that you make drops, because when people start selling, it drops the spike down.
Anyways, back on the topic, kids gambling. Do you not think that it's a good way to cope with loss?
No, this is a new topic.
What's Kanashi? You
No.
want to talk about Kanashi?
No. This is a new topic. We were originally talking about if child gambling is okay. Now we're asking if child gambling is a good way to deal with loss.
No, I'm saying is that's a point. Is like child gambling's good because it helps a child cope with loss.
No, terrible. No. This makes this.
Listen, you are thinking
this
of.
proves me right. This proves me more right, because
you are thinking
we're
of,
substituting a hole for a bigger hole.
So I could take the negative and twist it back to you. So if you're going to lose regardless, if you're not going to win every single time, it teaches resilience, discipline, and how to handle disappointment early on in your life, which is a gateway into losing in sports, academics, and careers. Because if you did not know how to deal with loss at a young age, you would cry your eyes out whenever you don't get in your dream college.
Or you try to fill the void in your heart because you've just lost someone or something, and no matter how much money you dump into casinos, it never fills the void in your heart. So now you've just created an addiction.
You think a better option is to just wait for someone to die, is what you're saying, and then you deal with the loss then.
I think
you're advocating for death. You want more. You want the death rates to go up, is what you're saying.
No, you're twisting my words.
I'm not
you don't even have to twist my words to get my answer, though. I feel like waiting for someone to die would be a better option than having children go to casinos.
So the average person's dad dies when they're 18 years old. Okay, so you think that you should wait? That? That's I've just known that statistic. I mean, I'll look it up, but I'm pretty sure that's the.
Where the frick did you get that?
I'll look it up, but
no, this is a made-up statistic.
No, it's not a made-up statistic.
The average person's dad dies when they're 18 years old.
Oh, I guess. Okay, so I guess it's freaking. It used to be pretty low, but I guess it raised now, so 50. Okay, regardless, it's still. Regardless. Okay, fine. You really want to go that route? Okay, 50. We're gonna wait for someone. We're gonna wait for someone to die. Okay, I'm gonna wait until I'm 50 years old to cope with loss. That actually helps my point. Would you not want to teach them how to lose early on, because the alternative on average is to wait until they're 50?
No, okay. First of all, you're seeing this as option A or option B, and that's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying that if I was given only two choices, then yes, I would choose option B. However, we live in a world where there are multiple choices and there are multiple avenues.
Okay, why can't gambling be one of those choices?
I think that's a terrible choice. That's a terrible option.
Okay. How about this? Then loss. Okay, another reason why gambling. I
could give many alternatives to help cope with loss.
3. 3? And don't bring up the death one.
Wait, what?
Don't bring up death.
Wait, I thought that's what we're talking about.
Choose 3 other options besides death.
Yeah, three other options to cope. Oh, I see.
Besides death.
3 other ways to cope with death besides waiting for death.
Besides death. Cope with loss besides death.
Right. So, a way to cope with loss. Exercise.
Exercise promotes body dysmorphia.
That's not true.
That is true.
No, that's
It's actually
not
becoming
true.
a thing. The rates of male body dysmorphia within the next decade will skyrocket above women dysmorphia in women. It's because more people are getting in shape and the gym's a bigger trend. So therefore, men do not think they're good enough. I could argue a negative for every single thing.
Okay, well, in all honesty, I don't even think that's a negative. That's just going to promote health and wellness across the board.
The people like bodybuilders have body dysmorphia. Like the people in the best shape have body dysmorphia. Next point.
No, exercise is 10 million. Even
next
if you
point
even if you get body dysmorphia, at least you're not freaking wasting your life away in a casino. At least you're fit. At least you're strong. At least possibly you're even sexy.
But they don't think they don't think that. They think that they're the scum of the earth. You might as well be in a casino because the people who are in really good shape,
the people who
they
are wasting
think the same. They think the same way as someone in a casino.
No, that's not true. That
is true. They think that they're not good enough. They think they're lowlives. They think they're fat whenever they're actually.
Okay. So you agree that the people in casinos think the same way that people with body dysmorphia do?
I'm saying they think the way that you're perceiving them.
Whatever. Okay. Next point. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the obvious answer out there. God.
All right, next one. I'm not gonna argue against that one.
Okay. Next point. Hobbies.
Bro, name name one hobby.
Name one hobby. Disc golf.
Disc golf freaking sucks.
I love disc golf.
I hate disc golf.
When I'm sad and I go play disc golf, it actually makes me happy.
What a terrible life that is. Where throwing a frisbee like you're a dog makes you happy.
All right. I mean, do you just want me to start naming hobbies now?
No,
I'm
saying no. My point is I could argue a negative for everything. So you arguing a negative for gambling, that's the same thing as me saying that.
No. Okay. I understand that it sounds like that I'm pointing out a negative for everything. However, it's the weight of the negative more than the actual negative itself. Because you're exactly right. You could give me a negative for every positive that I throw out there. Sometimes I get so pissed I want to quit the sport of disc golf because when I freaking have a bad day. However, getting mad at disc golf, I would choose getting mad at disc golf any day of the week rather than wasting my life.
Watch this.
In a casino.
Watch this. Sometimes I get so mad at gambling, I just want to quit. But I keep persisting so I can win big. I said the same exact point you had.
How long have you been gambling?
Like a week. My card got declined on the.
Okay. I think that's all the proof we need. Next topic.
You need the proof. No. Okay. Next point.
Your card got declined. Next question.
Not because I lost money, because it needed a second. What's it called? Backup verification. It needed my ID and stuff. Anyway.
Okay. So how much money have you spent? And then how much money have you won?
I'm at a negative, but bro, you don't have to be at a positive all the time. When you do disc golf, do you think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna quit because I'm under par?
No, I just go out and practice and get better. But
exactly.
But when the odds are against you, literally casinos are made for you to lose. How do you practice and get better? There's maybe 5 or 6 people in the world. There are 5 or 6 people in the world who are good enough to make money off of casinos, and they're not sharing their knowledge. So how could you intelligently say that you can get better at casinos when casinos are literally built to make you lose money?
Okay, let's use this analogy. Okay. Let's use a gym analogy. So whenever you're working out and you start out at a very, very heavy weight and you can't get the full amount of reps that you want, and then you lower down a little bit to a slightly less heavy weight, you do more reps than you think you could have done than if you were to work your way up to that weight. So if I was trying to curl 50 pounds and I was like, okay, I can only get 3, and then I went down to 45, let's say I got 10. Initially, I thought, holy cow, I thought I could only get that 5 times. Since the weight, 50 pounds feels heavier than the 45, or the 45 pounds feels way lighter than the 50, your mind thinks that you can do $45 more. The point I'm trying to make is, do you not think that if we started kids in a position where the odds are fully against them, it would translate to real world decisions where the odds, let's say they're just 50-50. They're going to be able to strategize a little better because they're so used to being at the bottom.
No, because what you don't understand in your analogy is that in your analogy, there's actually an achievable goal, a realistic achievable goal. But with casinos, they are rigged. Casinos are rigged. They literally pick and choose.
The point that I'm making.
They literally pick and choose the winners. No, that's not the point that you're making. The point that I'm making. The point that you're making is that if we put kids in casinos, they will get smarter about how to win in casinos.
No, that's not the point I just made.
So the point that you're trying to make,
I just made was, do you not think that having kids in that position where it's rigged against them, life decisions will be easier because life decisions are not rigged against them. And if they get good at coping and dealing with a situation that is rigged against them, they will be in a better position in a situation where it's not rigged against them.
No, because casinos are also built to be addicting. So if I put an impression,
I'm saying life outside of the casino.
No, but
when they leave the casino and they have an option.
But the thing is, they're not going to leave the casino.
They're never going to leave the casino. They're never going to have any other option in their life except for, do you want to gamble? There's not going to be any other decision.
If we're doing like a science experiment and I just grabbed 10 different 13-year-olds and I brought them to the casino, it is more likely that they are going to continue going back to the casino making terrible decisions, because that's how casinos are made. That's how casinos make their money.
Okay, so let's say you took
if I legalize child gambling...
No, I know, but you're saying if they go back to this casino, regardless if they go back or not.
No. I'm not saying if they go back or not. The casino is them going to the casino is going to create an addiction for them to return and create bad decisions.
Life outside of the casino, when they're presented with life choices, they will be in a better position because they have only dealt with situations that are rigged against them.
No, they're not. This is what's going to happen. Let's go to a real life. Let's go to a real life scenario. So they create this culture and they create this identity around casinos and gambling, and then they grow up. The thing is, I grow up is such a freaking terrible term because I don't even think they're going to grow up. They're just going to build a life around this casino. But anyway, let's say they grow up. They grow up and then now they're met with a difficult decision to gamble. And a decision comes up in front of them. So you could either take this guaranteed win, or you could take this risky scenario that very, very, very few people win, but there's a very, very, very big reward at the end of it. They are more now because they have that. Impression from the casino from when they were younger. They are going to be more likely to choose option B than option A.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that
So you're talking about the life lessons of casinos, and I'm talking about a life lesson outside of the casino, and you're telling me no.
Let's say that was true, and they took the option that not a lot of people succeed with. Okay, let's use that one example. In that situation, the choice that not a lot of people succeeded with, in that choice, it's not rigged against them. It's not like the casino where they use rounded edges or there's flashing lights to keep them in. It's just a situation that, like, probability-wise, it's true probability that not a lot of people have gone against. So if they were, let's say that we took a group of people who were raised gambling, a group of normal people, the group of gamblers would probably do better in that situation if everyone chose that choice. The group of gamblers would do better than the regular people because they are so used to having the odds against them. And now that it's literally not rigged against them, the odds are just against them, and it's not like manufactured in a way where it's supposed to make them lose. They know how to deal with it when that's the situation, when it's manufactured to make them lose. So now that it's just, the odds are against me, they're probably going to do better than the normal people.
Okay, even whether it's artificial, manufactured, or not, because life is not fair. it doesn't matter if it's manufactured or not. Those people are still going to fail.
I think they have a better odds of succeeding than the normal person, though.
Okay, let's say if a normal person has a 1% chance of succeeding that never went to the casino as a child. Now we bring the child casino player here, and now he has a 2% higher success rate. That's not like a.
You're putting numbers on a situation that you don't know. They could be 30%.
What I'm saying is that the percent does not matter, because the increase, like the likelihood of that kid succeeding, is in my mind not important at all. It does not help anybody. It does not help those kids who learn that way. It does not help anybody except the people who get the profit off of that scenario. So, for instance, let's say that you have two options. You are fresh out of college, and you have the option to buy a business, let's say, and the bank's like, well, it looks like that you're going to struggle to pay for this in the beginning, so you could pull out a normal loan, or you could pull out this loan. It's a I forget what it's called. It's a fluctuating. I think it's called like a market loan or something like that. I can't remember.
Like the high risk, low reward, or high risk, high reward, whatever.
No,
use those terms.
The way that the loan works is that the interest is based on the market. So it's like a fluctuating interest, and that's how they get you, because they say you could possibly end up with an interest rate that's lower than others because it's not fixed. And then guess what? Because inflation has not gone down in like over 100 years, there has never been a single person who has lowered their interest rate on one of those loans, because the loan keeps on increasing. So the person who makes the rational decision to pull out a normal loan, I'm just going to pull out a normal loan with the fixed rate. They are going to be more successful, because the person who's like, well, I want to take the gamble. I want to try and get the loan that fluctuates, the interest rate that fluctuates, because the interest rate might go below the guy who's fixed. But then guess what? It never goes down, because it's a lie. It's just a straight up lie. The interest rate never goes down because it's based on like the inflation rate, and the inflation rate hasn't gone down in like 80 to 100 years.
Let me give you an example. Okay, a kid who gambled, a grown man who gambled his entire life as a kid. He's at a table with a bunch of different businessmen. Every single businessman was a normal kid. They're all scared of losing money. They're thinking like, oh my gosh, I might lose so much this month. But the kid gambler, unfazed, because he treats the situation like it's another hand of poker. He's calculated the risk versus reward. He notices, just like a game of poker, he notices the tells, like that, like the facial expressions or whatever that the other negotiators, he's spotting their bluff have. He notices when they're lying, when they're not lying, and he's not scared of losing the money because he's experienced loss before.
Okay, even if the kid made it to adulthood, even if the kid is not wasting his way in the casino right now because we gave him an early impression as a young child, that the likelihood of that happening is still incredibly low. Like I said earlier, there's like 6, maybe 12 great blackjack players in the world. And there can only be that many anyway, because the casinos, number one, are only gonna allow that. Number two, those other pro gamblers are gonna want to keep their achievements. They're going to want to keep their reputation, so they're going to get better anyway. So the odds, like you're saying, that if we do that, kids are going to grow up. Kids who go to the casino are going to be more like that, but that's just not going to happen.
Let's say that didn't happen. Anyone can put money into the stock market. So do you not think that a kid who gambles is going to be a little more calm when he sees the market starting to crash? Like, I could put my money in the stock market. When someone's 18, they can put their money in the stock market. If a kid is used to gambling and used to losing, do you not think that whenever the stock market starts to crash, he's not going to be like, holy cow, pull the money out, like how most people are? And if he does think that, if he thinks maybe I should pull the money out, it's going to be less of a panicked mindset. It's going to be, oh, well, I've seen this before. Probably should pull the money out.
Well, to counter that, there are more ways to have a resilience and there are more ways to teach resilience and to teach a strong mindset than a casino. And I don't even think casinos do that well. I think they like smooth your brain out.
Okay, so think about this. You're arguing against casinos because you think it's this big, you think it's this very, very negative ordeal. So to compare, think about a family who allows their kid to have their phone whenever they want versus a family who has very strict rules on phone use. The family that lets their kid use their phone whenever they want, the kid will be a little bit addicted at first, but after a while, it's just a phone. It's just another part of their life.
That's not even true at all. That's not true at all.
So what do you mean that's not true?
There, kids these days.
Yeah, kids. They are in the phase of.
Okay.
Like they're in the phase of it being a big deal. When they're older, it's just
adults who grew up with iPhones. That would be me and you. Have higher rates of depression and anxiety, and we have a more aptitude to addiction because we grew up with phones, and they're showing studies of how addicting the phones are. So that whole statement is just not true, because there are thousands of kids who grew up with phones who are now adults who are suffering because of their addiction to their phone. I mean, and I'm proof to that too. I mean, I didn't grow up my entire life with a phone, but I did grow up with it from an early age of 12 to 13 years old, which would be your gambling age. And even when I turn off my phone sometimes and I put it away, I start getting stressed when I'm away from my phone.
Okay,
and that same mindset is not just specific to me, but it's specific to a lot of kids. So that whole statement is just null and void. It doesn't apply at all.
If we're gonna get into I was just using that as an example, but okay, well let's keep that example. The point that I was trying to make was the kid who is never allowed to use his phone, when he gets a hold of his phone, it's like a big deal. Holy cow, I can use my phone. Compared to the person who can use their phone all the time, they don't think of the phone as, they might have an addiction, but they don't think of the phone as a big deal. The people who never get a chance to use it are more apt to addiction because they think it's just forbidden fruit. So the same thing can apply to a casino. If you just let kids gamble, they get it out of their system. And when they're older, the people who never gambled before, it's holy cow, I'm at a casino. The kids who gamble all the time, that's just a normal Saturday to them.
Then we go back to the argument of whose fault it is. Is it the child's fault or is it the parent's fault? And then that's what I would say. Well, I think it's okay for your kids to have restrictions. However, as an adult, you need to teach them why those restrictions are in place so that when they go experience it in life, they don't freak out. Like alcohol.
Okay, so let's say
my parents would drink alcohol in front of us. And in my opinion, I think that the parents, it is okay to put restrictions, but the parents need to teach them why the restrictions are there. If a parent just gives them a restriction and then never tells them, yeah, I can agree with you. I think they're more inclined to build an addiction because they don't understand the weight of what they're doing. However, if I'm a parent and I have a kid and I have a restriction on his phone and he says, Dad, why can't I access Safari past 10 o'clock? And I tell him, I say, to be honest, son, I don't think that you're responsible enough to be browsing the internet past 10 o'clock. And I would explain to him the weight of the restriction. So how would you counter that?
Okay, so you brought up how your parents would drink in front of you in moderation, right?
Right.
Are you and your brothers alcoholics?
No.
Okay. So
I never got to finish that, but
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So they would drink in front of us, and then they would explain to us the reason why we have the restriction, the reason why we can't drink until so-and-so age. So not only did we have that impression from our parents, but we also were explained the restriction. So when we started drinking, none of us became alcoholics or addicted because not only do we know the weight of the restriction in the past, but we also had the impression from our parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I already know what you're going to say.
What do you think I'm going to say?
I think you're going to say I think you're going to comment on the impression part. We were like, well, if they have that impression where with all those people in the casino where they're just losing money all the time, I don't know, just something like that.
Okay. So here's what I'm gonna say. You and your brothers aren't alcoholics, right? You said yes. So imagine a situation, a household, which isn't uncommon, where the parents do not drink in front of their kids. They never talk about drinking. The only stories of drinking that they have are from other people their age. You go, holy cow, I got blackout drunk last night. It was a wild time. And then they think, okay, well, I wish that I could do that, but my parents aren't letting me. And then it's this big ordeal in their head. Like, I want to drink. I want to drink. I want to have stories. I want to have a good time. But because their parents never went over it with them, because, they never had that they never saw it as not a big deal. Now it's a big deal. So do you not think that if you just put kids in the casino and now it's not a big deal, then it's just kind of like I said, it's just, oh, well, that's just another day,
No, as I just said a couple minutes ago, I actually agree with that statement to a certain degree. I think people who put restrictions and then don't explain the restrictions are putting their children or putting those people that they've put the restrictions on in a bad situation. I think they're setting those kids up for failure. So I do agree with you on that. However, I don't think that is like a humongous argument to promote child gambling.
Yeah, because right now it's like
if option A is I let my kid do whatever they want so they can figure out life, and then option B is I have so many restrictions that it's basically like Fort Knox in my house. I think it's kind of a
no, I'm using the two extremes.
I think it's
like
narrow.
Of course, there's a middle ground.
I think it's narrow-minded to just use the extremes.
The point of using the extremes is if you stand on a certain point, we would test your logic by using the extreme. If it doesn't stand with the extreme, then we discuss where among the lines does your perspective skew.
Okay, in my opinion, I think both extremes lead to the same ending. I think both extremes lead to the same ending, and that's that person will become a depressed, addicting personality person. They will have just a miserable life because they've just either wasted their way in the casino in the first extreme, or they've fallen into sin because their parents did not explain to them the restrictions, and then when they became an adult, they wanted to try.
If that is the case where both extremes will fail, and you are all about the odds are against them, now you have to find this sweet spot that, like, right in the middle that does not promote gambling. So why does it matter if the odds are against you, kind of like that 13%? Why does that matter? If you have to literally find the sweet spot in the middle, then the odds are against you. Your child, more than likely, the odds are, unless you hit that middle section, your child's going to be addicted to gambling.
No, because that in itself is an extreme.
How's that an extreme? No, you said that both extremes would lead to...
Yeah, I'm saying that both outliers, both extremes...
Right, so you have to find yourself somewhere in the middle.
Right. But you're saying that finding yourself in the middle is either as hard or harder than finding yourself in the extreme, and I think that statement is an extreme statement.
So you think that if you leaned a certain way, the kid wouldn't think more towards a certain way. So if you were near the middle, but you're like, I'm probably going to not really talk about gambling, the kid wouldn't be in a position where they're likely to gamble.
But then you would fall in the extreme.
No, I'm saying that
if because the extreme is either you let your kid do what you want and you don't
saying they're right in the middle,
or you have so many restrictions but you don't tell them what's going on. Those are the extremes.
I'm saying you're right in the middle. Where you're like,
the middle would be like the true middle, the sweet spot would be I'm going to give you a restriction, but I'm going to explain to you why that's wrong.
Let's say this would also
true middle.
This would fall in the middle as well. I'm going to allow you to do whatever you want. I'm not advocating for this, but this is also in the middle. There's a bunch of stuff in the middle. I will allow you to do whatever you want. When you fall on your face, I will explain to you why that's bad.
I mentioned earlier in this episode that I think that is morally better. But the thing is, the likelihood of parents having the ability or capability of doing that is very low in the circumstance of gambling.
No, I know, but I'm saying like that's also there's more than one middle, is what I'm saying. There's a whole bunch of things that fall in the middle. So if that is the situation where it's I'm going to restrict you, but I'm going to explain why I'm restricting you, that is like that's a situation you can do that, but also you have to understand
In
every
my
kid's
opinion,
different.
that's perfect.
But you can
That's smack dab in the
understand,
middle. That's hitting the target. And,
right?
but
But every
so
kid is different.
anything out of that would be right or left of the sweet
Okay.
spot.
So, okay, like I said, like you're thinking of it as like linear. So, let's say my parents did that and they said, "Okay, I don't want you gambling, but I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't gamble." I could be a rebellious kid and go, "They don't know what they're talking about." That parenting style could be a negative for the kid if the kid's like, I don't know, they don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to go out and gamble, blah blah blah. And then they go out and gamble. The kid and the parent goes, "Well, you shouldn't do it." And then the kid's like, "Well, I could have made $1,000,000. I'm going to go try again." You know,
Well, with the parents present, I feel like that is actually a better scenario than the opposite, because with the parents' presence, there is a chance that that kid looks back and says, "Well, I think my parents were right." Because I've just wasted all my money and I still haven't made the money back. Because with their parents' presence, they actually have something to back it up.
but
You see, but with the parents not there and they're just going in gambling and they're just coming back to the parents like, "Hey, can I have more money? Can I have more money? Can I have more money?" They don't have any facts. They don't have any advice to back up why they're losing or why they are falling into an addiction. The thing is, with the first situation, the kid who was rebellious actually has something in the back of his head, which are his parents' teachings. And when he starts losing and when he starts falling into this addiction, there's a possibility that he might look back and be like, "Oh, well, my parents showed me, like, man, I'm really freaking up right now." But the thing is, in the other situation, the kid doesn't have any backdrop. They don't have any background to explain why they are in a bad position. That's why if legalizing child gambling is such a risky scenario, because now we're putting a lot more work on the parents than what they have to do. Number one, and we're also putting a lot of faith in the parents to do what is right. Like, obviously, we need to trust that parents are doing the right thing, but obviously, because we live in a sinful, broken world, that's not the case. Parents don't do the right thing all the time, and we have a lot of bad parents in the world as well.
Do you not think that? Yeah, okay. So, do you not think a kid, like, if that's the case, if the parent sits them down and says this is bad, this is why it's bad. It's a kid. Do you not think the kid won't fully believe them until they experience it?
Yeah, but I would rather them experience it as an adult than as a child.
But if they experience it as a kid, then they got out of the way, and when they're adults, they're like, "Oh well, either they like it or they don't."
That's not necessarily true.
What part of that isn't true?
Because kids are more impressionable than adults.
Yeah, but the kid who gambles, they learn early on whether they like it or not, and then as adults,
right?
Like, "Oh, I don't
but
want to
as
do this
kids,
anymore."
they can also learn from the casino executives and also the people in casinos. I'm not saying that everyone who goes to a casino is bad, but I'm not saying that that's also like a really healthy place either, because there are a lot of bad people who like to go to casinos. But you could argue there's a lot of bad people who like to go to church, which could be true, but I mean, if you walk into a casino, you can see what I'm saying about the crowd that those places bring. So if I bring an impressionable kid to one of those casinos, they are going to learn from their surroundings. However, as an adult and they already have their identity and they go into a casino, there's not really much that they're going to learn unless they don't have an identity or they're weak-minded.
Mm-hmm.
However, because kids don't have any background, and they're very impressionable, we're taking away that layer of protection.
So, okay. So adults, you're saying the adults that have an identity that are less impressionable than a kid. I would argue that adults who already have an identity are actually going to struggle more with a gambling addiction because now they have more to lose. They have their pride, ego, financial stress, and a kid who learns early on that losing is normal. And if let's say the parents are present, the parents teach them that quitting is smart, whatever.
No,
That's gonna
because that's a bad lesson.
How's that a bad
That's
lesson?
a bad life lesson.
Do
Quitting
you
is
think that
smart.
the kid who has nothing, quitting while you're
No,
ahead,
no,
in
no,
moderation or whatever?
no.
You think that an adult who has more to lose is in a better
while-
position to gamble than a kid who has nothing to lose?
Yes,
An adult is more likely to get addicted because they have more to lose.
that's not even true, even in the slightest.
Yes, because then they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like I have, like they want. A kid's just gonna be like, oh, well, I lost my money, and an adult's gonna say, oh my gosh, I need to make this back, or I got rent to pay.
A kid's gonna be like, but a kid. How did the kid get the money? They were gifted the money. There's probably very little chance that they actually worked for the money. So if they were gifted the money, there's no weight to actually losing that money. Well, like you said, oh well, I just lost that money. So if they are now we go into the responsibilities of money. And now we're putting an impression on those children that it's okay to waste money. We're teaching them that it's okay to waste money.
No, you're teaching them that the money has value, because then they're going to realize,
No.
oh, I have no money anymore.
No.
If they lose their birthday money, the negative that they're going to feel is going to be immediate. It's not like over time they're going to lose their money on buying things. It's going to be immediately. Immediately they're going to feel it. They're going to realize, maybe I shouldn't be spending this money because...
I don't think that's how people work, Charles. I don't think that's how children work either.
You don't think that whenever a kid loses his money, he's going to be upset?
I mean, it's hard to say. Because...
It's hard to say that if I went up to a kid, I stole his money, the kid's going to be like, oh, well, there goes the money. You think that's going to happen? The kid's going to be upset when losing the money. It's going to teach the kid that money is actually important.
No, I don't think it's going to teach them that money is important. I think it's going to teach them the opposite. I think when they lose the money, but here's the thing. Because we don't really have evidence to back up this argument, we have to kind of use our surroundings and use the facts around us. And here are the facts. If I have given let's say like I gave a robot, or I gave like some sort of learning creature something for free, then they're gonna acquire a couple of things from that. But one of the things that they're gonna acquire from it is that, well, if he just gives it to me, then I really don't have to work for it. Then it just kind of it can be interpreted as meaningless. So if I gift a kid money and then he goes and wastes it, and then I continue feeding into that bad practice, that kid is going to learn that, like, money is meaningless, that I can waste it away in these casinos and I'm not going to have any repercussions, and they're going to build this addiction. So since we do not have any evidence, we have to use our surroundings and the facts that
let's think about
this
like this.
world. But you keep on bringing up these situations. Well, let's
think of a very real situation.
My kids might come out of this situation with the idea that, like, losing money, they're going to have like a stronger faith for money, or whatever. But we don't have evidence for that.
Of a very real situation that you can use an analogy off of. Okay, if I gave a kid candy every single day, free candy, if I gave him candy every day, he's going to think, I get candy every day, it's not a big deal. Candy is meaningless because he gets it whenever he wants. It doesn't really matter. Now, if you gave the kid candy every once in a while, let's say you kept giving the kid candy every day, but it's the same exact candy. He's going to go to school and he sees, let's say he gets a Jolly Rancher every day, and he goes to school and this kid has a Snickers bar, and he goes, okay, I want to trade this Jolly Rancher for a Snickers. He's basically trading. He's gambling. He is starting to understand the worth.
No, that's not gambling.
Yes, because it transforms the gift of the analogy is it's transforming the idea of this is a gift from a handout to a resource. Yeah, I misspoke. Trading is not gambling, but it shows that money is a resource, not a handout.
Is very niche. It's very specific.
How is that niche? Yeah, because kids, I'm interchanging the idea of money and candy.
Okay, what about kids with a complacent personality? Where they are when they are okay with the candy that you're giving them,
then they're probably not going to gamble, are they?
Then what about the people that are introvert? But the thing is,
just because it's legal. Listen, marijuana is legal in a lot of states. Not everyone smokes weed in those states.
This is what you are trying to do. You are trying to create a fantasy where there is a pro out of this. But I'm not creating a fantasy about the negative. I'm giving facts about the negative. I'm giving facts and data
based on
about
only like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. You could be right, I could be right.
But we can know what's going to happen based on current events and based on how we know children act. We know how children act. You're basing an assumption about an abnormal kid. Like, oh, I get the same candy every week. What if I trade this candy?
You're telling me that when you're at lunch, you didn't watch people trade food.
Yeah, but not everybody trades food.
Right. Not every kid is going to choose to gamble. Some people aren't going to like it.
No. You're flipping the script.
I'm not flipping the script.
You are, because you're trying to compare a positive to a negative. First,
no, you're trying to compare. You're saying every kid's going to gamble, and then you're saying, well, some people don't like. Some people are complacent. Why would those kids gamble if they're complacent?
No, we're talking about the impression that casinos give.
Okay.
So and I think this argument is also pretty difficult because we have to factor in the parents as well. So, obviously the kid is not going to make money. The kid has to get the money from somewhere, which will either be his parents or guardians or a trust fund or something. Just like we have to kind of imagine a way that these kids are getting the money, and we have to imagine how the parents are reacting when they go spend the money. So that's why I think this argument is really difficult. However, based on how we know children act, I can say that my situation is more plausible than your situation, because theoretically, if we legalize gambling and we just gave these kids money to gamble, then they are not going to put any value on money, and they are going to form addictive personalities around these buildings and around these companies based on what we know about children.
Okay, so let's try to find a middle ground. Okay, let's say gambling for kids should be legal. All right, and we shouldn't restrict. We should guide.
Here's the thing.
Agree.
Probably the only reason why gambling for children is not legal is because it would be incredibly hard to tax.
They just don't pay it.
Exactly.
And what are you going to do with your taxes? I'll let you say it, bro.
Throw it in the paper shredder. No. Do not throw your... Do not throw...
This is legal advice. I want you to throw your taxes in the trash. Do not pay your taxes. This is a revolt against the government. Spank if I'm wrong advocates for tax fraud.
Do not throw your IRS papers in the paper shredder.
I'm advocating for tax fraud. Put your taxes in the paper shredder. I don't care, and I'm advocating for it. I'm pushing you to do it.
No, don't do that. Anyway, as I was saying,
you said it, not me.
I did not say it. Well, I guess it was a joke. It was a joke.
Okay,
anyway.
Well, I didn't think it was a joke, and some people listening might not think it's a joke.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so
let's meet in the middle. Agree with me. It should be legal. Just guide them instead of restrict.
How about we just?
I gave a lot of pros.
How about we just agree to disagree?
No, because I'm right.
No, you are not right. That's why you want to meet in the middle.
No, I'm trying to like. It's kind of like whenever freaking America needs to find a middle ground with China. War isn't good. We need to find a middle ground.
Okay, but China doesn't win.
Even though we argue all the time, I don't like arguing with you, Judah. Listen, I do not like arguing. I think that we should be friends, but you just want to argue all the time.
That's not true.
You just want to argue.
That's not even a little bit true.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, actually, it is a little true. I do like to argue.
And I just want to be friends, and you were always saying, let's argue, let's do this podcast.
If you just want to be friends, then admit I was right.
Do you want to be friends with me?
Yeah.
Then admit that I'm right. Okay, but let's meet in the middle. Gambling should be legal, but we guide the kids.
Folding.
We guide
I'm
the
not
kids.
Folding. I don't think child gambling should be legal.
Oh my gosh. All right, so you forfeit because you're just
How do I forfeit? What? I'm the only sane person in this podcast.
Bro, that's not what the comments say.
All right, we'll see what the comments say. I think I've done a pretty good job this episode.
I think I did. I think this is a good episode. It's hard to win all the time. Honestly, I think the reason that I advocate for child gambling is because I win everything I do, so I can't imagine it. I can't imagine a world where I lose. This podcast is proof in the pudding.
No. No. That's not how we're ending today's episode.
So we're gonna end it with me winning I won.
Yeah, I take the dub today. I think I did a pretty dang good job.
You usually don't.
All right, guys. We appreciate you standing in with us. Hope you enjoyed this episode.
Thank you for witnessing another one of my wins. I'm 3-0 on episodes.
No, I think you're 0-3.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not.
you are 0-3.
I definitely won the hand washing one.
No, you did not win the hand washing one. Anyway,
just because you don't like it doesn't mean.
So I was checking out the comments and I was scrolling through them, and I noticed we got a recommendation.
Stupidest recommendation I've ever seen.
So our commenter Noah Lag commented.
That's your brother.
Let me go ahead and pull it up.
How was your day?
He said, "How was your day?" So the comment said, "Wrestling or football, which is better, healthier, and cooler?" So wrestling or football, because I actually have a background in wrestling, and Charles has a background in football. So we'll go ahead and talk about that.
And wrestling.
And wrestling. Yeah. So I have a background in both football and wrestling, but more wrestling than football. And Charles has a background in wrestling and football, but more football than wrestling. So we're going to see the perspectives of that. So let me go ahead and read the reply, though. So after he said that, our host said, "Stupidest idea I've ever heard in my life."
Are you the host?
No, I'm the co-host. And then I said, "Well, as a former collegiate and high school wrestler, I love the idea."
No, that idea sucks. I'm not going to sit here for an hour saying, I like football. Like, stupidest idea I've ever heard in my life. Read the other comment. Let's do this. This is going to help with audience engagement. Read the other comment. Read the replies. We're going to choose comments to read at the end of the video or audio, whatever.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and read the next comment. So this was on both of these comments were on our first episode, to wash or not to wash. And we had Cameron Best comment, "I'm offended." And then Charles, Mr. Spank, said, "Good kid, I hate my fans." Cameron, who's such a loyal fan, said, "We love you, Spank." And then I commented, I meant to say he didn't mean it, but he didn't mean we love our fans.
I don't. I'm only using you for money.
Oh, well, I'm not. I enjoy.
So if this wasn't for money, you'd still be doing it?
We're doing it right now for no money.
Yeah, but you want there to be money.
Obviously, I want there to be money, but I'm doing it right now for free.
Yeah, because you're hoping in the future's money. If it was
theoretically,
for a hobby.
Okay, theoretically, we're already arguing again. Okay, theoretically,
that's just our nature.
Like, so we begin the podcast with no money, and then we peak, and then we get a lot of money, and then we stop making a lot of money. I would still continue the podcast.
If we started right now and someone said you were never gonna make money and it was a for sure thing, would you still do it?
Sure.
I wouldn't.
Oh, well, there you go. You have your amazing, wonderful Charles Spank and Judah Lag. See y'all next time.
That's why they like me more.
Hello everybody, my name is Spankiplier. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you did, be sure to follow, comment, and share. Any way you can support two guys with a small dream fulfilling their passion helps us out. Judah made me read that. Anyways, be sure to comment any future debate ideas you'd like to see us go over. You can either comment on your podcatcher or email us at theofficialspankpod@gmail.com. We appreciate you guys and spank you later.